Oh, hey, how are you? Welcome to another fantastic week of youth group. As always, we've got some good stuff for you. And you know what? I'm actually really excited about this one. I mean, I'm like always excited. I'm always very excited about youth group. Sorry, the other youth groups are also very good. You should check those out if you haven't already. I just think this week's is a lot of fun. Come on down. We're going to do some fun stuff, like right now. Welcome back to Temp Check on the Deal. My name's Carter, and I'm joined by Pierce. Pierce, go ahead and say hi.
Hello.
Pierce, thank you for joining us. Pierce, what grade are you in?
Seventh.
Seventh. So that means you've learned a little bit about U.S. history at your school, right?
Well, not too much this year, but yes, I did know it. Actually, no.
So are you functionally aware of how the government generally works?
Yes, I am aware of how a democracy government works.
So you are aware that we have recently inaugurated a new president, which is exciting.
Yes, I am.
Yeah. Well, one thing that is really cool about when president takes over is they get to decorate the Oval Office. Past presidents have included like a statue, like a little bust of Martin Luther King. Moon Rock was in Bill Clinton's Oval. Fun fact, I went to the Presidential Library at Little Rock, Arkansas. It's a fun little trip. They have a replica of the Oval there, of Bill Clinton's Oval Office. And down to the colors are in furniture, and they even have the same moon rock. Anyway, that got me thinking, Pierce, if you were president, God forbid, what would you put in the Oval Office? What would be your decoration of choice?
Well, I have a few posters here I got for a birthday a few years back I would definitely put in. Here they are. I got three. This one of a stormtrooper, this one of a flown on Geonosis, and that one way up there of another stormtrooper, I think.
So what is the deal with the stormtroopers? Why the stormtroopers?
Well, it was a package deal, Carter. It was either that or a 5-foot-tall statue of Captain Rex.
Ooh,
Because it's not just a statue, it's more of a cardboard cutout.
I get you. Imagine if Joe Biden walks in there and he's like, you know what I need, guys? He throws on the aviator glasses and he says, I need a cardboard cutout of Commander Cody. Cody's got to be in here. Guaranteed re-election. Like, it's just look it up right there, right? Come on.
Yes.
How do you not
But
support?
it's sealed if my generation could vote.
Yeah.
What about you, Carter? What would you put in the Oval Office?
Oh, thanks, Pierce. I thought you would never ask. I would definitely, obviously, you'd have the like pictures of family on that kind of stuff. But like, I'm more a guy that's like, you're gonna have a lot of really important meetings in there. People need to be comfortable. I've seen those couches. Those don't look comfortable at all. They look like the couches at like a doctor's office.
Yeah, the waiting room
Yes.
for who knows what business.
Let's get some lazy boys in there. On the side of them, they got a little fridge. Like, there's no law that says you can't, like, Prime Minister of India's coming over. You're going to have
Who's going to stop the president from bringing a PewDiePie chair into the office?
Right? A gaming chair needs to be in there. I've been looking for a good gaming chair. Well, just like that, we've checked our temps. If you want to be on next week's temp check, go ahead and give me a shout. And with that, we're going to move on to the next thing. Time for some announcements. Announcements. It's like the worst thing in the world to ever say. Carter, don't say that. Anyway, you might remember that we were gonna have some sledding going on this last weekend, but then Winter Storm Orlina, which I guess is the name, decided to dump like, I don't know, a foot of snow or something on the Madison area, and so we had to cancel because those roads were just not that great. And originally we decided that we were going to postpone for the next Sunday, which is this coming Sunday, February 7th.
A few moments later.
After we made that announcement, we discovered that this coming Sunday is going to be, shall we say, cold. And if you guys remember, I grew up in California. I could walk to the beach. Not okay with this. Anyway, so what we're doing is we're going to push it a little bit farther to Saturday, February 13th, 2 p.m., same place, Houston Park. All the information's right here, and we hope to see you there. It's going to be a dabadoo time. And with that, Welcome to our final week of goals. We've been talking a lot about setting goals and achieving goals, those small ones, those big ones, and even those God-sized goals. And everyone who's watching right now has achieved something in their life before. Maybe you haven't changed the world yet, but I bet you've done some pretty cool stuff. Things like maybe winning a championship, improving your grades, learning a new skill perhaps, finishing a big project, making it through a big challenge. Whatever it is, whatever you've done, I hope that you celebrate it. I hope that you are so proud of yourself. Big or small, doesn't matter what it is, take a minute right now just to acknowledge, just to yourself or maybe even to somebody else, that you did that thing and that you should be proud. So like I said, we've been talking a lot about goals, and I couldn't wrap up this whole conversation without talking about these important words.
Dude, you're ripped.
Thank you. Merci beaucoup. Yeah. Oh yeah. Obrigado, amigo. Gracias. Ich danke. Dir.
Dank.
Ti ringrazio, amico, sei davvero gentile. Gracias, è stato. Obrigado. Oh, thank you.
Sağ olun. Ευχαριστώ πολύ.
Thank you.
Ulan, du är biffig.
Ashkuruk. Terima kasih ya.
Yeah. Cool. Deal.
Thank you is a phrase that you're going to say pretty often in your life, right? But today we're going to talk about how important this phrase is when it comes to our goals, those big ones, those small ones, and even those God-sized goals too. For the last few weeks, we've been following the story of this man in the Bible who had this big goal, and today we're going to hear how this story ends. Just to refresh your memory real quick, long ago, the city of Jerusalem was destroyed by an enemy army. God promised the Jewish people that they would one day return to Jerusalem. The Jewish people began to slowly rebuild this city, Jerusalem, and although people were living in Jerusalem, Nehemiah learned that the walls were still falling down, and he wanted to repair them so he could honor God and protect his people. The king allowed Nehemiah to return to Jerusalem in order to build a team that would rebuild the walls, but in doing so, he faced a lot of opposition. And despite mockery and threats of violence, Nehemiah and his team continued rebuilding the walls. Nehemiah just wanted to get this whole thing done. He wanted to fix the whole thing. So after months of praying and planning and preparing, recruiting a team, standing strong in the face of opposition, the walls were finally built in just 52 days. That is like super short. The completion of this building project was obviously a huge deal. So Nehemiah, having accomplished his goal, decided this was worth celebrating. So now let's take a look at how Nehemiah celebrated his achievements and see if we can learn something.
And this all leads to the conclusion of the book in two movements, first positive and then negative. Ezra and Nehemiah combine forces to bring about a spiritual renewal among the people. They gather all the exiles together for a festival. They read and teach the Torah to all the people for 7 days. And then they celebrate the ancient Feast of Tabernacles to remember God's faithfulness from the Exodus and the wilderness journeys. Then they offer a confession of their sins. They vow themselves to renew the covenant, follow all the commands of the Torah. And they finish with a great celebration over the temple, the walls of Jerusalem, and we're thinking this could be the turning point, but it's not. The book ends on a huge downer. Nehemiah tours around the city, and he finds that the people have not been fulfilling their covenant vows. So Zerubbabel's work is undone as he finds the temple being neglected and staffed by all these unqualified people. He then discovers that Ezra's work is being compromised. He finds everyone violating the Torah, people are working on the Sabbath, and even his own work on the walls is involved because people are setting up markets around the walls of Jerusalem and working on the Sabbath. So Nehemiah, he goes on a rampage. He's beating people up, he's pulling out their hair, and he's yelling, "Obey the commands of the Torah." And his final words are a prayer that God would remember him, that at least he tried, and the book ends. I mean, it's very strange.
Okay, so a lot of different ways we could go with that, especially considering how the whole thing ends. But we're going to save that for another time, because right now I want to focus on how Nehemiah and the people celebrated when they accomplished their God-sized goal, because we can actually learn a lot here. First, when the walls were completed, Nehemiah threw a party, but it wasn't a party for himself. He teamed up with Ezra, the city's priest and teacher of the law and the head pastor kind of guy, and they organized a huge worship festival to honor God rather than honor themselves. Ezra read scripture to the residents of Jerusalem for hours and hours, leading everyone in worship and prayer. Then Nehemiah took the mic, or they didn't have a mic, so maybe it was like a goat's horn or something, and he told them all just to celebrate. So when Nehemiah's goal was achieved, he celebrated and he invited others to join him. Second, even after a full week, the Jewish people weren't done celebrating. They needed to party more, and they wanted to show their gratitude to God for all he had done. So they made a promise to God to repent of their ways and turn back to him. When their goal was achieved, they made promises to God. Finally, they still weren't done. The people kept the party going with music and dancing, singing, rejoicing, all the good stuff. In fact, in Nehemiah chapter 12, there's 18 whole verses that describe in detail every single thing about this whole party. Nehemiah probably didn't even care if we remembered all of these details. He just wanted us to imagine how grateful they were for everything that God had done. I mean, and that's quite the way to express gratitude to God, right? Tons of people, tons of music, and tons of activity. And when their goal was achieved, they worshiped God together. As Nehemiah's goal grew, his gratitude for both God and his community had to grow too, because God-sized goals require God-sized gratitude. So throughout this series, I've been inviting you to set some goals, some big goals, small goals, and even God-sized goals. In the first week, we said that big difficulties can inspire God-sized goals. So if you're looking for a goal to set or a problem to solve, start by looking for difficulties in the world around you. God might be inviting you to help solve those problems. Then we said that you are designed for God-sized goals. God made you to dream big, but he also gave you everything you need to do the work, to do this work that you're called to do. Between your mind, your skills, your relationships, and your resources, and the power of God, you're designed to achieve big things. And then last week we said that God gives us strength to pursue God-sized goals, because when we're trying to do something difficult, we're almost always going to encounter opposition. But God's going to give us the strength to just keep going. And as we close this series today, I want you to think about the goals that you've already achieved, or the goals that you're working on, especially the ones that you need God's hand in. Even if your goal is still in progress, there's something worth celebrating there. Find that thing. What are your goals right now? How can you grow in your gratitude right now? Even if you feel like you haven't achieved as many goals as you wish you might have, there's still much to be grateful for. God has done so much in you and through you, and this is only the beginning. So what's next? What goal is God inviting you to set? And when will you begin?
You are here, moving in our midst. We worship you. We worship you. You are here, working in this place. We worship you. never stop working. You never stop working. Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop working. You never stop.
Look! I made a burrito. Thanks for coming. You know, you can come to the after party that's right now if you're watching this live, and you can hang out with my cat. That'd be fun, right? Well, make sure that you want to come back next week, because I'm very certain that you do. This was a lot of fun. Goodbye, guys. Why are you still here? Oh, do you wanna say hi? Say hi, Charlie.